Okay, let's jump right in. So I recommend watching his video first and then watching this one because I feel like this one's gonna go a little bit faster because I've kind of understood it a little more after watching his video. But I'll jump right in. So we're gonna first draw Propanol, and that's just 3. And then for this homework, all you have to do really is keep in mind the aldehydes and the ketones. So when it ends in Al, that means the oxygen's going to be at the end with a double bond. But if it's a ketone, then it would be over here on this one because it needs to be flanked by 2 other carbons. So there's our propanol and then sodium. And I'm doing it kind of how he was doing it because just so I can see the steps and try to understand what was going on. But I'll show you the way that I did it. So I see borohydride. I need 4 hydrogens on my boron, so I'm going to press the heterolytic function and bring this hydrogen to the boron. And then I'm going to release this bond because it's a hydronium workup. So I'm going to release this bond back to oxygen. And I know in his video he was adding hydrogens just over here, but I like to take them from here just so it's easier for me. So I'll take this hydrogen and then I'll bring the bond back to boron. And I see that this carbon, the octet, isn't complete. So I'm going to take this hydrogen from boron and put it on carbon. I'm going to hit arrange. So what I have now is my complete octet for this carbon and an incomplete water molecule here. And that explains the hydronium workup. And then now last step is to delete this. Delete these. And for this homework, I know it shows like nitrogen and boron and all that, but really the end product is going to be just carbon and oxygen with hydrogens. So if you have anything else, so far as I went through the homework, I didn't have any molecules that contained nitrogen, sodium, boron for the final answer. So this will be the final answer, and then lastly, I see it's only product, so that means there's only one answer, so no chiral centers. So yeah, that's the last thing you want to do is just reread the question and look at product and see if it's going to need 2. So this one only says product 2, and you can also do that by checking the chiral centers. So chloroethane, I'm going to add a chlorine at the end. And then lithium and propanone. So propanone, that's going to be 3. And it ends in -one, so I know it's a ketone. So I'm going to add the oxygen double bonded to the center carbon. As I said before, if it ended in Al, it would be over here, but since it ends in -one, it's a ketone. And you have to put it on this one so it can be flanked by 2 carbons. And then I'll add my lithium, add my hydrogens, hit arrange. And I believe in his video, he replaced the lithium over here with the chlorine. But I am just going to remove it because eventually it's just going to be removed. Actually, I'm going to bring this bond back and use it to connect to this carbon. I'm going to move this over here so I don't have to bother with it. And now I'm going to, so this is now bonded, so now I'm going to remove one of these bonds back to the oxygen since there's 5 bonds here and I can't leave it like that. Heterolytic, put it back. And now lastly, I'm going to take this hydrogen and put it on my oxygen. I'm going to roll this around so I can release these bonds back to lithium and hit arrange. Okay, so the final product, I see an incomplete water molecule. I know that's not like the right way to say it, but that's how I can see it best. I see this carbon has complete octet, this carbon has complete octet. That's what I look at now because I kept getting them wrong. I would forget to put a hydrogen, but this one doesn't need an extra hydrogen anywhere that I can see. So lastly, I'm going to delete those other molecules of lithium and chlorine, and I'm going to make sure in the question that it says product. Okay. Butanol, so that's 4 carbons, and then it ends in Al, so I'm going to do a double bond to oxygen on the last carbon. My lithium is going to be, I'm going to put it by itself. My aluminum, I'm also going to put that. So that's all the only things that are going to be on my canvas. So if you just want to do this one fast, I like putting the hydrogen on the aluminum. I know it just makes an extra step, but if you want to do it fast, you can just take the hydrogen and attach it to the oxygen already and put the bonds back to lithium. And now we have a carbon with only 3 bonds. So I can take this bond and put it on carbon, hit arrange, and just delete this. So I'm just showing you different ways to do it. I don't like to really do it that way. I like to do the steps just because it makes me feel good. Okay, and I'm gonna make sure this time there's no chiral centers just to do it because as well you can look on the question and see it, but you can also check. So this carbon has 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens, 3. So no chiral centers. I see my incomplete water molecule, my carbon with all my carbons with complete octets. So that should be good. And I like to double check, sometimes triple check, because I notice myself making small mistakes by leaving hydrogens out or putting extra hydrogens. Okay, so ethanol, that's 2 carbons and then ends in Al. So double bonded oxygen to the end or to one of the carbons. Methyl lithium, so I'm going to draw my methyl with lithium attached. Oh shit. So carbon bond, add my hydrogens. So that gives me my methyl over here attached to the lithium. I'm going to arrange it. Oops. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is make my incomplete water molecule using the hydrolytic function. I'm going to remove one of those bonds. I see I have an open bond here, so the carbon attached to the lithium, that bond, I'm going to use to attach it to the carbon, since we're kicking lithium out anyways. And then let's see if I can, so I can't take any hydrogens off of this one, so I'm going to add in a hydrogen separately. And then I'm going to bond it. Okay, so now I'm going to check that everything's correct. I have an incomplete water molecule up here. This carbon has its full octet, and these carbons have the full octets. And I don't see a chiral center because this carbon has 2 methyls, and these carbons have 3 hydrogens each. So I'm going to hit arrange, and I'm going to delete that lithium on this side. So, and again, you can check on the question, it only says product. So Okay, acetone and methyl magnesium. So acetone is going to be 3 carbons, and then I see one, so I'm going to have a double bonded oxygen on the middle carbon, so it can be flanked by 2 carbons. And then I have my methyl magnesium iodide. So I'm going to, okay, now I don't need oxygen, I need carbon. And then that's attached to magnesium and iodine. So magnesium and my iodine. Oops. Oh my gosh. Okay, and add my hydrogens. Hit arrange. Okay, so again, I'm going to be removing this bond up here, which will then have a hydrogen to make an incomplete water molecule. And I'm going to attach or detach the magnesium from this compound. Usually I just put it over here, but I'll just show you guys this way. So I see this is ready to attach here, so I'll go ahead and take it, hit arrange, and I'm going to add a hydrogen over here. And hydrolytic. Okay, and let me delete these that I don't need anymore. Okay, I'm going to look for any chiral centers, even though I see it only says product. I don't see any. And I see that all my carbons have the right amount of bonds. I have my incomplete water molecule, so this should be good to go. Propanol, so again, the three carbons, and then Al, so double bond. Oops. Double bond to oxygen at the end. Methyl magnesium chloride. Carbon, magnesium, and chloride. Add my hydrogens and hit arrange. Okay, I'm going to release these bonds back to oxygen using hydrolytic. And I'm going to attach this. This is exactly the same as the last one. Okay, so now lastly I'm going to add a hydrogen to the canvas and attach that to oxygen. Hit arrange, and I'm going to go ahead and delete these. Okay, and this one I see that it says products, so I'm going to look for my chiral center, which I'm going to assume is this one, but we'll go through it anyways. Yes, so we have a methyl attached, an ethane, or an ethyl, and an OH group. So this is our chiral center, and now we've got to make another one mirror that. So I'm going to move this to the side and start drawing the mirror. So I'm going to start copying this end. So I have a carbon here, another carbon here, another carbon, and then one lastly on top, on bottom. Add my oxygen and add my hydrogens. Hit arrange. Okay, so I see the hydrogen went automatically to the back, which is great. If it goes to the front, you're going to have to move it to the back because it'll be the exact same opposite if you roll it around. but this looks good, and I'll go ahead and do the chiral centers just to make sure. So this is my highest priority, my second, and my third. This is S, my highest priority, my second and third. This is R. So that should be good. All the octets of all the carbons look good, and I have my incomplete water molecules. One chloropropane, so that's 3 carbons with a chlorine attached. Magnesium and ethanol. Ethanol, so it ends in Al. I know it's going to have an oxygen double bond. And then I'll put my magnesium right here. Add my hydrogens and hit arrange. I'm going to roll these around and move them. Okay, so I know I'm going to be removing this chlorine, and this is actually the example we had in class today, where magnesium is substituting the chlorine, and then it eventually gets removed. But I'm just gonna, let's see, I'm gonna take this bond and attach it to the carbon. And now I'm gonna release one of these bonds to oxygen. Okay, so I see all my carbons are covered. They all have their octets, and I need, lastly, this hydrogen. And I'm going to roll this molecule so I can release those bonds back to the magnesium. And lastly, delete, delete. Hit arrange. And I see that, okay, so I'm trying to zoom out. I see it says products in the question, so I know that I'm going to need to do the mirror image as well. So I'm going to start doing that. Starting on this side and then ending with this one. So I'm going to 1 carbon, another carbon, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then on the second one, I have the oxygen. And I'm going to add my hydrogens. I hit arrange. And I see this hydrogens in the front. I'm going to want to move that. This is a great example. So if I roll this around, it's the exact same as this one. So that's why we want to move our hydrogens around if it doesn't go automatically to the back. So I'm going to try to move this, hit arrange. Let's see if it moved it correctly. Yes, it did. And I'm going to double check. So first priority, second, third, this is R. First priority, second, third, this is S. So, looks good. Okay. I think this is the most time-consuming part about this homework. Great, so this one doesn't have 2 products, so it won't be that bad. Acetoaldehyde, so I believe this is the 3 carbons with an oxygen attached. I'm going to double check because acetoaldehyde always kind of throws me off. I don't think I've done this question, but let me add a sodium and then my borohydride. And then a lot of these, like for me, it really helped looking it up. add my hydrogens, and acetoaldehyde is actually just ethanol. So I'm going to delete this carbon and add a hydrogen. Okay. Okay, so acetoaldehyde, and now I'm going to remove one of these bonds. I'll take this hydrogen and remove, oops. Okay, I shouldn't have taken that one. I'll just take this one. Okay, and then I see lastly I need a hydrogen on this carbon because the octet isn't complete. Hit arrange, and I'm going to delete these extra molecules and make sure that everything looks fine. Incomplete water molecule, and my octets are complete. Question only says product. So let's see. So if you're not familiar with what these look like, I would suggest look it up. I did a lot of Googling and making sure everything looked the way it's supposed to be. So I'm going to start by drawing the butanone. That's 4 carbons. And on at the 2 position, so there's going to be an alcohol at the 2 position. I'm going to count left to right. So I'm going to add a double bonded oxygen to this carbon, and I have a methyl at the 3 position. So I'm going to add my methyl. I'm also going to put my sodium and boron on the board. Add my hydrogens and hit arrange. Okay, everything looks good. So now I'm going to use my heterolytic and remove one of those the bonds to give the electrons back to the oxygen. And I'm going to take this hydrogen, bring these electrons back to sodium. And I see this carbon still needs a hydrogen, so I'm going to take it from boron. Hit arrange, and I'm going to go ahead and delete those molecules that are extra. I'm going to roll it around, and this one is going to be time consuming because I just saw products. So normally your chiral center is going to be the one with the oxygen attached. So I'm going to roll it around so that the hydrogen's in the back. And I'm going to start drawing the mirror image. So first carbon, second carbon, third with the methyl, and last. And oxygen attached at the second position. Add my hydrogens, arrange, and I think I got lucky. Yes, so my hydrogen's in the back, so I don't have to move anything. I can still check those chiral centers, but I know it's gonna be good. So everything looks about right. Hopefully. Let's see. Okay. Last one, and it's just a product. So just one Fentanyl, so that's going to be a 5 carbon chain. Okay. With a double bonded oxygen at the end because it ends in Al. And I'm going to add my sodium and my boron, add my hydrogens, hit arrange, and now I'm going to use my heterolytic function to remove these electrons back to oxygen. I'm gonna go ahead and get this hydrogen attached to the sodium. And lastly, I'm gonna take a hydrogen from the boron. Hit arrange and delete. Delete that sodium and the boron with the hydrogens. Okay, everything looks good. My incomplete water molecule, my carbon with the complete octets all around. So that should be good. Okay, and I tried going as fast as I could. I know this one is a little time consuming. But if you just keep doing it, you'll see like the rhythm and it's just a lot of repetition for the most part. And then if you get stuck on like, I know that like Fentanyl is pretty simple, but like that 3-methylbutan-2-one, go ahead and Google what those look like and just draw it, and it'll be much easier than trying to, or you can, what I did was I drew it first to figure it out, like that Acetoaldehyde, which I was wrong on. But if you're not completely sure, definitely Google it, because I know there were several that I drew it first, but I Googled and it was wrong. So yeah, good luck, and yeah.